Good evening. Happy New Year. Last one was kind of a gnarly one, wasn't it? Uh, I thought there'd be no better way for us to begin the year than to have a meditation. And it's really nice that it happens on our regular night for meditations. I think I'd like to meditate just a little longer. Let's meditate to this beautiful song called Choral C. Take a breath. We are all spiritual beings. I had a little realization many years ago where it hit me that we go through life thinking that we're human beings that have spiritual experiences. But actually, we are spiritual beings that are having a very short physical experience as a human. It's very short for the soul. I was very proud of myself for having such an insight. And then I went to visit my brother's church in Oro Grande, California. And on their pulpit was a little flag that hung down that said, "We are not physical beings having a spiritual experience. We're a spiritual being having a physical experience." I felt really kind of bad that they stole all of my stuff, even though it was there before me. But life is like that. Life gives you little treasures. As you open up to it, life opens up to you. And I'd like to talk to you as a spiritual being this evening. You have lived this entire incarnation thinking that you had a name, a gender, a family, a country. You've had all of these experiences and people who are so influential in your life. I look back on my life and I see that I have been blessed with a mother and with a family and with various spiritual teachers throughout the years. Each one of them did something for me, something really magical. And of course, when I met my teacher, it all blew up. Everything became totally alive. For the first year that I studied with my teacher, I could barely function, to be honest with you. Everything was just turning gold all the time. And I was having a good time. I managed to hold a little menial job. Times I slept in my car. But there's no amount of money or anything that I would give up for that first year of experience. When you start to awaken to your higher self, and a teacher, we have many teachers, but when a teacher comes along and they give that little spark, that you come to an awareness suddenly. You've had maybe the knowledge of it, you've read about it, you've seen it in movies, or you watched other people. But when it happens to you, it's the most amazing thing in the world. And for me, it was like the answer to all of my prayers. It was why I finally found what I came here for. And I am hoping that this next year will provide you with that very same opportunity. We get caught up on ways and means. We think we can figure it out every once in a while. We'll read a book on philosophy, and we really get into what the philosopher saw. We saw his insight into this thing we call life. And we buy into it and we say, oh yeah, this is what I wanted. One of the major philosophers that influenced me greatly in this life was Ernest Holmes. You probably have never heard of him, but he influenced me greatly. It didn't awaken me spiritually, to be honest with you, but it prepared me for my path. And my path has taken me many, many directions, just like yours will. Life is an amazing adventure, but we get caught up in the details too often. The last 3 or 4 years have been particularly hard on most of us because we've been homebound, we've had to watch TV full of talking heads who sit and talk endlessly about conjecturing about what could be and what might happen and what if, and basically entertaining us through fear and a sense of self-righteousness that we're right and everybody else is wrong. And we are locked in on this TV thing, and it puts us into a certain karma. And the karma leads you into a sense of anger, hopelessness, fear. Just go down the list. And tonight we're going to celebrate the opposite of that. We're going to celebrate the beauty of life. As I've gotten older, have come to love this life more every day. I always felt kind of out of place when I was a youngster. This world seemed very foreign to me. But I went out into the desert with my teacher one night. And going into the desert, I thought, boy, this is desolate. This is horrible. It's dry, you could die out here. And as the night progressed and we meditated, and my teacher took us into all these different dimensions, I walked out and I started seeing the beauty of the desert. And a magical thing happened. Ever since then, every day, this world has become more and more magical to me. I've seen the beauty of this world. And as I have opened up to the beauty of this world, the beauty of this world has opened up to me. We get ourselves in a certain state of mind, and we get locked into that state of mind. That this is what happens, as I was mentioning earlier, about getting all caught up in the television and all of that talking heads who are telling us everything that probably could happen or probably should happen. And then we get all angry when it doesn't. And we can rise above that consciousness into a consciousness of peace. When you're in the consciousness of anger and distrust and fear, when you have convinced yourself that you can't do any better, that you are a victim to the horrible edges, the jagged edges of survival, you're just being raked over the coals and you can't feel anything better. And I'm telling you, you can, but you have to raise your vibration up above that. You have to seek the higher spiritual nature that you have. That's my job, is to try to remind you of that you are something amazing. And you've been fooled into thinking you are this little being walking around, trying to create relationships and businesses and pay your bills. And all these things are fun and happy sometimes. But there's a better and a bigger part of you that when you start to stop your thoughts, in meditation, we stop our thoughts. My teacher had this incredible experience of being able to stop everybody's thoughts. You just looked at him and your thoughts would stop. You would go into meditation instantly. And if you were a student of his, when you sat down to meditate in the morning, think about your teacher and suddenly your thoughts would stop. It was magical. And in that stopping of the thought, the ego starts to decline a little bit, and your awareness starts to expand. And you start to become more and more aware that there's something so incredibly beautiful and magical that you have kept that away from you with your thoughts and your feelings and your programming that you've gotten from parents and friends and schools and life itself, society, that you've forgotten who you were. You've forgotten that you're a spiritual being. you've forgotten that there's more to life than what you've ever been presented with. Our society, our religions, our politics, our friends, our family puts this incredible pressure upon us to think a certain way, to be a certain way. And we react to that. And when you're reacting in that state of mind, you are subject to the law of attraction, which brings more of that into your life. So it just continually feeds itself in this negative, very limited point of view. So we start to meditate and we stop our thoughts. And now we're starting to have an awareness, not thoughts, but an awareness that there's a part of us we haven't discovered yet. There's a magic to this world. There's a presence that's in everything and in everyone. You look at the most horrible person, and if you raise your vibration enough, you will see inside that horrible person who's maybe causing untold harm to others and to the environment. If you look deep enough, you'll see their soul and how tormented it is. And how that tormented soul is taking out all of that pain and anguish on everyone and everything around it. But if you look a little deeper into the soul, you see the divine. And then you realize that the suffering that everybody has, that everybody is doing to everyone else, comes from a sense of separation, a sense of ignorance. It's all caught up in duality. We are here, they're there. We're more advanced than those, but those people are more advanced than us. We have this hierarchy going on around us all the time. They call it Maya. And the Maya is very thick. It's very difficult to move beyond it. You have to meditate and you have to pray for enlightenment. You can pray for other people. That's good. It's always good to pray for other people, especially for them to prosper and to be healthy and whatever. But more than that, you need to pray for their enlightenment and you need to pray for your enlightenment. You should seek enlightenment with everything inside of you. And yet that goes against everything you've been taught. You've never, probably, maybe a couple of you have, but most of you have never been taught to value your spiritual nature, your enlightenment. You've been so caught up in the dream of this world and all the horrible things that are being pushed to us by the media, because fear sells. So they're going to nothing but fear to you, nothing but fear. Nonsense. In enlightenment, there is no fear. In enlightenment, there is no guilt or shame. There's just perfection. When you can start to see the divine in the worst of us and seek to maybe get that little spark to glow a little larger inside of that other person, recognizing that there's no difference between you and anyone else. We're all just one of the same stuff. And that is, they become enlightened, you become enlightened. So the spiritual teacher wants everyone to become enlightened. Everyone. You dedicate your life to it because life is transitory, it's short. I want something more that goes on for eternity. I want enlightenment. My teacher said that enlightenment is easy. You just have to want it more than anything. Well, my friends, your life is nothing but things. things, your job, your pets, your parents, your children, your country. These are things. You have to want enlightenment more than that. And you have to want it from your heart. And I am assuming that by you even tuning in to this message this evening, is that there's a part of you that's starting to awaken. There's a part of you that wants enlightenment. And as that flame starts to grow and you pray for just a little bit more enlightenment, like a little child asking for another cookie. Can I have just one more cookie, please? If you can do that, that's an amazing prayer. To welcome the awareness that changes your life, to be willing to sacrifice everything for that which is of greater value, your eternal soul. Things of this life, people in this life, we all come and go. At my age, everybody's going or getting ready to. And I'm okay. Change is beautiful. It's part of the wonder of this world. You are amazing. You are eternal. There is a spark within you that goes beyond this world, beyond all worlds, that goes beyond all ascended masters and gods and goddesses, that goes beyond your concept of God itself. There is a part of you that is so awesome, so amazing, that you can't really explain it to anybody, because everybody is caught up in things, into duality. And as you start to meditate and stop your thoughts, you can become aware of the nothingness that is everything. And that everything is of nothingness. Sounds kind of Zen. It is. So I guess the message for going into this next year is to learn how to let go of your things that are holding you back, thoughts and feelings, letting go of those things that cause you to have a low self-esteem. Let go of that structure in your mind that says everybody is more powerful and you're just weak. Let go of the structures. Come forth with a new narrative that is positive, not just for yourself, but for others. Quit thinking negative thoughts. What you focus on, you become. So focus on the highest and the best. Focus on enlightenment. Enlightenment's got a very bad rep, but I can tell you for sure, my experience is that it's beyond words. And my experience also is that enlightenment is not static. As my consciousness grows, my awareness of enlightenment grows, and it just feeds on itself. The person you saw last year is not here this year. I'm different. And I'll be different a month from now. I'll be different 6 months from now. At some point, I'll just drop the body and walk out. So will you. So I'm encouraging you to find that part of your nature that is spiritual. I don't care where you find it. You may find it in a Catholic church or in a Hindu temple, in an Islam mosque. I don't care where you find God. God is everywhere. God is in everything. And people who are seeking God tend to put it in codified. It has to be this way. It has to be this way. And too often our spirituality becomes so codified that it becomes extreme duality, where our way of believing and our way of thinking is the only way, and everybody else is inferior. What trash. What trash. How dare we do that to them, people who are doing the best they know. We get so caught up in people who are caught up in duality to the fact that it's all about taking and power and getting this and conquering that and dominating this and manipulating that. Don't you get tired of it? I did. So finally I let go of my fear. I still have a healthy respect for the laws of nature. I'm not going to jump off of a roof or something like that. But I'm not going to be afraid. And neither should you. Meditate, stop your thoughts, seek God. Seek that creates God. Seek that essence inside of you. It's inside of everything, actually, but it's inside of you. Seek that essence. And allow yourself to change. Allow your concept of God to evolve as you evolve, as you become more and more aware. Your idea of who God is and what God is will evolve naturally. So I guess tonight's message is very simple. Start this new year seeking a new way of looking at life. Change your thinking. Change your life. What you focus on, you become. Whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, if there be any love, think on these things. Let's have one more meditation. And I'll see you next week. Have a great week. Practice smiling at everyone. See what happens. Just watch it. breath. Namaste.